Guys, welcome back to the Hushlife podcast. We are coming at you from a pretty special place. If you guys have been following along on the channel for a while, you know we like to do some giveaways. We try to do a couple every year. The last one we just did, we gave away an elk hunt up here on the R&K Hunting Company. And we're fortunate to be sitting here with the winner. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Brody Gurley. I'm from Grantsville, Utah, and I was lucky enough to win the hunt. So,
Good dude to win it, too. We just spent some days together. I can confirm, Brody, solid dude.
awesome.
The coolest thing I think about the hunt giveaways, this is our third that we've done. The first one we ever did was in New Mexico a couple years back. And then last year we did a mule deer hunt up here in Utah at R&K as well. And both the previous winners and Brody brought their dads. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't watch the announcement video where we actually called him and told him, we always try to like mess around with people a little bit, you know. And you should go back and watch it. It's pretty funny. He walked himself down this path. It was really easy for me to kind of give him a hard time. Everyone else was out in the elk woods, and so they were like, Casey, call the winner and tell him. I'm like, all right. Anyway, go watch the video. It's pretty funny. But what stuck out to me when I called Brody was he immediately, when I said, hey, you are the lucky winner that won the R&K Hunt Company elk hunt, he immediately said, is there any way I can pass this tag to my dad? I would really like to take my dad up and have him be the tag holder. And we've said this numerous times, and couldn't be truer on this one, that it just seems like the right person wins these giveaways. And, I mean, immediately that resonated with us because, you know, we were fortunate to grow up with dads that brought us into the woods, and we are always trying to give back and take them, and we've been able to take our dads on some pretty cool adventures over the years. And, yeah, so when he said that, I was like, man, we got the right guy, guys.
Yeah.
We found, and, you know, we have no choice in who wins. It's a third party that picks the winner, but it was just cool because we were like, man, that's our guy right there.
So I think before we jump into what's going on here, I mean, we've kind of left the folks hanging on the podcast for a little bit. There's been a minute since we last chatted. It's been a busy fall, right? A lot going on.
A lot happened.
We start things off early in August, and we're sitting here in the very beginning of October, and nobody in the podcast world, if you don't follow us on Instagram, then you probably have no idea what's going on. And so maybe you should consider that. You can do that at Get Hushin'. And that's where we kind of are going to update all the real-time stuff. So if something goes down in the woods, generally speaking, it's going to end up on Instagram first. Maddie and Logan are in the midst right now in the Beat Lab, the Creative Center, putting together the new hunt films, which are going to be debuting here soon. We'll talk about that maybe in a bit. But maybe we give everybody like a quick cliff notes of like what's happened since our last podcast in August.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Case, I think you had first hunt of the year.
Yeah, so we started the year out in August like we have been able to the last couple of years. I went to Alaska and took my son Gage with me, and then brought Trent from Born and Raised and his daughter Hudson. And we went and had an absolutely phenomenal week in Alaska chasing caribou around. It was just an absolute joy being up there with such good people, and to watch our kids experience Alaska for the first time was pretty cool.
Number one takeaway from that hunt, biggest thing that stood out.
Biggest thing that stood out to me was, I've said this numerous times. Hunting caribou on the tundra is very different than hunting anywhere or anything else. It's we use a transporter, ran up the river, 60 miles, get dropped off, and it's a migration hunt. You're waiting for the caribou to migrate. So when you get there and they're not migrating, you might not see any animals. It's not like you can load up camp and like go to the next spot like we do when we're elk hunting or deer hunting. You're just there, and so like. I was the only one on that trip that had been there and experienced, caribou hunting, and I just kept telling those guys, hey, it just is what it is. It's going to happen. We just got to stay positive because we didn't see a caribou for the first 3 days. And I was really not shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised at how positive the two younger kids, Gage is 15, Hudson's 14. There's so much things to do in Alaska that kept them busy, but they just kept a very positive attitude about it. And, I think the caribou thing was just extra icing on the cake, but we're fishing, picking berries, doing all that fun stuff, and dude, they were just positive, and me and Trent were just like, heck yeah, we've done a good job as dads,
Nice.
And then it happened, and so it was pretty cool.
That's a cool adventure. I think most of us have everybody on the team's been up there now, and it's definitely different. but it's awesome. And you're right, man. It can be feast or famine on the tundra. And when it's famine, it's long days.
It's a game of patience.
It doesn't get dark there for like, you're at 20 hours of light or whatever. So you got a lot of time to kill when it's slow.
Yeah.
Matty Ice, I think you also had an early tag.
Yeah. Yep. Second, third week of August, chasing mule deer. My dream deer tag just happened to be on the same ranch that we're hunting with Brody. And, man, I had a great time with Jed and Logan. And, man, I guess a takeaway from that hunt would just be like, it's hard to hunt off of past memories of a place.
I think that's it. So that's an interesting point. We have often been people that say, go hunting. Don't wait around for that dream tag. Because sometimes, boy, if you're applying in the Western states like a lot of us, you are potentially looking at 15, 20 years to draw like that quote-unquote dream tag. And when it finally happens, it might not be that much of a dream anymore. Things could have changed, whether it's the weather, the buck-doe ratio or the bull-cow ratio, different dynamics, predation, you name it, hard winters, and suddenly that thing you had hoped for forever just isn't it. It's not there. It's not the same. And so I think we experienced some of that here, Utah and parts of obviously Wyoming, and a lot of the Western states had some terrible winter kill. And there's some speculation. There's a lot of studies done from collar data and, at guesstimations. But I don't think you really believe that until you actually validate it out on the hill. And so, in Matt's case, he was the first one to be able to kind of come up and validate, was it as bad as it suggested or not?
And something that I, for some reason, didn't register in my brain till the hunt was come and gone was I was like, okay, there's 2 or 3 stud bucks last year. All they got to do is make it through the winter. They're going to be studs. It's going to be awesome. Kill my biggest buck to date. We didn't have green up or summer until July. A lot of these bucks weren't even growing antlers till legit 4th of July. And that's normally when I'm up here putting together a hit list when I was guiding. It was like, oh yeah, that one's about topped off. That one's pretty close. Like you can get a good estimate. Mm-hmm. And when I was up there in July, I mean, a lot of them weren't even to their G2s. And I'm like, and I saw that. And I had a good conversation with Daniel, who owns R&K, and he had a super logical explanation. All of the deer's energy and elk, energy and fat reserves went into survival. Antler growth came second, and I really, really saw that. Every deer was like, we kept calling them cookie cutter bucks. We saw a good number of deer, probably 40, 50 bucks in 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
And they were all between that 120 to 150 range, which is odd for this range. Every single year, I would find a buck over 200 and a handful of 180 plus.
That's what you guys actually did a podcast with it. That's the last podcast we put up was Matt and Logie sat down with Daniel, the owner of R&K, and Daniel's dialed, man. Like this guy has poured his heart and soul into building this, not only this business, but really building this herd that, they outfit on. And that was very surprising when you guys were explaining what Daniel told you is, if they did make it through the winter, they came out of the winter very, very depleted.
Yep.
And so typically, and we had the spring this year, Utah had the spring this year to really produce some good antler growth. And instead of, antlers being the first thing that, all that protein and food's going into, it's actually to get fat back on their body so they can survive.
Yep.
And it was very interesting for me to hear that too, because it makes sense though.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Hush has a brand new mobile app? And it is completely free. Simply search Get Hushin' where you get your apps. It's compatible with the iOS and Android platforms. With the app, you're going to get a lot faster checkout process for those of you who love to shop the Hush brand. We also do app-exclusive content. The only place to get this content is simply on the mobile app, and it's free. And don't forget, we do in-app exclusive giveaways. If you guys want to win some of the great products that you see us use in our videos, check out the mobile app today. Hate to interrupt the podcast, guys, but I've got to tell you about the new All-In Snapshot digiscoping system. Allin.co has released a magnetic digiscoping setup that allows you to capture HD video through your spotting scope. It's that simple. Capture and share. Allin.co. Use the Hush code and save some cash.
For sure.
So, just, a cool experience, but maybe
Great,
not
yeah.
what you had originally envisioned when we surprised you with the tag, in the spring.
Definitely. And I hate to say that, a hunt's made, make or break on, the class of animals you're chasing. But that's what my takeaway was. Don't hunt past memories, because you got to go into every hunt as a fresh start. I mean, you guys have seen it hunting units consistently. They don't stay the same. Mm-hmm. They have their swing years where they're banner years for a year or 2, 3, and then they dip down, and they'll bounce back. It always does. But, I mean, you just got to look at every hunt as a fresh start, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, circling back on my original point of just go hunting, if you were just to base your hunting experiences on trying to save up for a certain tag, and you're chasing that one unit that you either read about, or maybe you used to hunt as a kid, or you've had friends that hunt there, maybe you've even hunted it in the past at one point in time, you might get one hunt when you could have potentially gone on 5 or 6 or 18 or 20, depending on what you're doing, what you're applying for. So be mindful of that. Obviously, it's a changing dynamic. There's so much going on out west, specifically around mule deer. We've noticed it unequivocally, whether it's Nevada or Idaho, Utah, Colorado. The mule deer dynamics have changed significantly since we all started going out together in 2014, 15. Really, really different. Generally speaking, not for the better. And so, just crazy things to kind of consider as we work our way through the fall, and even honestly start planning for next year already.
Mm-hmm.
EC Money.
Yeah, season started out in mid-August for me. I had an archery tag here in Utah, home state, the OTC Open Bowl it's called. And once again, kind of following up with a redo of 5 for 5 this year. So having 5 elk tags in 5 states, different seasons, different weapons. Utah being the first. And so I wanted to put all my time and energy into that early archery season, which led into September 20th, which would give me 10 days for the second tag, which is Idaho Archery. So I spent the first week in Utah with Shed Crazy and Rob, and we went to a new unit, new area, just kind of have that desire to discover a new spot and figure it out, and the challenge of that, super fun. Shed Crazy got a bull, which was kind of out of nowhere, because we were just dealing with the early rains that Matt experienced up here, and just getting rained out. And I kind of had a vision of that first time being a tree saddle, water hole type of situation, super hot. The summer had been super hot here in Utah, and it just switched like that. Again, my vision of what it was going to be was totally wiped out. But good takeaway from that hunt was because we had so much rain and we're forced to just hang out at camp, hanging out with Rob from Tethered, who's a new friend of mine, and Shed Crazy, and even this guy, Brady Brim, who's from Never Miss, who builds those targets. Casey always said it when we first met, you really want to get to know somebody, spend a week with them on the mountain. Takeaway from that hunt was just each of us had our own different story of how we're working in this industry. And we just had a lot of heart to heart. So went in for an elk, came home with not an elk, but came home with such good values and lessons learned and conversations and really getting to know people, and each of us helping us through different struggles and things that we were just talking about in life. So the takeaway of that hunt was I didn't know, all of us who were there, didn't know what we needed from the hunt, but we went away with something completely different. And I think, hunting is so much more, like Matt said, of course we were looking to notch the tag, but just getting out with your friends and family, just like on this hunt with Brody, getting to know somebody, that stuff can't be replaced. So, having 5 elk tags, I didn't punch a tag in Utah, got my butt whooped, really played the boundary game, which has worked in my favor in these last few years. These last few years, a lot of my hunts have gone as I visioned it. So when you get a curveball, like Matt said, you kind of it humbles you, and it reminds you to go into a hunt like it's not like last year where you just hop in the tree and shoot the 6 point, like it might be a grind. And we grinded it out and spent a lot of time with Matt, backpacking, and same thing, just like trying to work hard and thinking that all the hard work is going to pay off eventually. And it just never did in Utah. So walked away with that one and just being super soaking wet and skinny. And
We got really good at like setting up cams.
we got really good. Like the foundation of my backpack by the end of it was like, okay, here's my foundation, the sleep system, everything I need, and then just food and water. And some
Replenish the
clothes.
food and water.
And Giardia.
You finally got your sleep system dialed. Only
Got the
took you
sleep
like a
system
decade.
dialed with the help of Matt. That was one of the last podcasts that we did and talked about. A follow up on that is the sleep system's working out pretty dang good, to be honest.
Well, you've come a long way, Z.
Yeah.
From back in the day when the
Giant
giant.
pans and Adam and Eve bags, dude.
Yeah, I'm getting dialed. But yeah, Utah was fun. My tag is still open for extended archery, which we have here on the Wasatch Front. And then just the last week of September, Matt and I linked up with Casey to go try Idaho. Same thing, a new unit for myself. I had never hunted that unit, so going into it with high hopes. But even though it was a completely different tag, different season, to me, it felt like the same hunt. So I was going into it like wore out, kind of just like not as optimistic as I usually am on the hunt.
PHA was pretty low.
My PHA was very low. Luckily, Casey's was super high. So he came in with a fresh mindset. And we were playing the boundary game again like we were in Utah. And after watching all these elk on the private in Utah, I'm just like, they know where they're safe. And up here, they've been pressured for the whole month of September. Casey just kept saying, yeah, but anything could change anytime. If we just stay in here, which we had enough food for probably 4 or 5 days, if we just stay in here and hunt hard, like something's bound to happen. And sure enough, right when you're at your lowest of low, Casey comes to me and is like, hey, man, we glassed a bull down deep into public. You want to go after it? I'm like, dude, the first legal elk that steps in front of me with my bow is getting shot. So we tagged out a nice little 5x6. Matt set up a decoy and called him in and filmed for me. So we got that experience I was, working for all season. And now I'm just super optimistic and like re-energized after this hunt and hanging out with this entire group here, getting some good food in my belly. I'm ready to rock and roll and move forward in the season.
Heck yeah.
Probably one of the cooler things you guys are going to see here, not too far down the road. Casey, lucky dog,
Oh, yeah.
drew himself a once-in-a-lifetime tag.
Yeah, moose tag in my home state of Idaho. It's actually, I hate to say this, people be like, oh, you're that guy, but never put in for moose in Idaho, which, Idaho isn't a point system. It's
You never put in, dude?
never put in because in the state of Idaho, you can either choose, you have to choose. You can either put in for a once in a lifetime, which is your goats, sheep, moose,
Yep.
or you can put in for the draws for
deer.
elk, deer, antelope. And so I've always been chasing, trying to get good elk and deer tags and antelope tags. But, going into this year, I made the decision to do it because I figured the herds in, just like in Utah, Idaho had a really rough winter. And, we lost a lot of animals. And so I thought, I think the moose probably fared fairly well through the winter. And so might as well put in for a tag. What's funny is my son came out way back, like, I don't know how long ago this was, but we were in the shop, and I was fortunate to draw a mountain goat tag in the state of Idaho, in the state of Utah in 2013. And so that kind of came into play. I was like, 10 years later, I'm going to get another once-in-a-lifetime tag. And so I put in, and I was very fortunate to draw and put a lot of time into the scouting. That's, my daughter was lucky enough to draw a moose tag 3 or 4 years ago. And the funnest part of that moose hunt for me was just getting out and like learning the unit better, setting up trail cams, doing all the summer scouting that I used to do a lot more than I do now.
Doing endos?
Doing endos. And so I told Logan, I said, I made a goal. I said, this is the first tag I've ever had that I really feel like I want to concentrate on trying to find the most mature moose in this unit and then hunt that moose. I'm going to acquire a target and then hunt it. And so we spent a lot of time putting trail cams out, stealth cams littered all over that unit, and I wanted to have my boys be a part of that, so I took the 2 boys with me a lot, set up a lot of cameras, and yeah, it worked out really well.
It worked out
Really
swimmingly,
really well, yeah.
right?
Swimming.
Yeah, like ridiculous. I can't wait to share this one. It's pretty amazing what Logan captured,
Yes.
and it's going to be awesome. So it's man, you really got your money's worth out of once in a lifetime tag.
Well, I did and I didn't.
You did and you didn't.
I did say, like, going into it, I'm like, this could either go one of a few ways. It could either be like a long grind, which I was expecting.
Yep.
Because the one thing I did learn on hunting moose with my daughter was the season opens August 30th and it goes for 3 months. It goes from August 30th till basically November 23rd. Wow. So some old guy, when my daughter had the tag, I was talking to somebody. I can't remember who this guy was, but he told me, he goes, hey, just so you know, October's a really good time to hunt moose. And I'm like, well, yeah, I think anytime you have a moose tag in your pocket and the season opens, it's probably a good time. But what we learned on that hunt, Logie, on my daughter's hunt was that last week of September, first week of October, there was moose that just started popping up that we had never seen before. Yeah. So they start rutting, they start moving around a lot. And so in my head going into my hunt, I thought, I'm either going to have that, the most mature animal I could find on that unit and have them pretty patterned or dialed and go and hunt them the first day, or it's going to be like maybe a 6-week thing of us hunting for a few days every week in between other hunts. And it happened really fast. So
yeah,
It's a good one.
it's a great one. Logie Bear got to carry around a bow in the Elkwoods.
Yeah, actually on the tail end, right after Casey killed that same day, we sat down just like we are, just me and Case, and recorded a podcast. And towards the end of it, he surprised me, let me know that I would be carrying a bow in the Elkwoods.
And thoughts, feelings?
Man, was I spoiled. Good buddies of ours, Drift West. We kind of linked up with them. The hunt was through them. And some of the most, like, you picture the epitome of elk country, just like nice, rolling, lots of benches, really thick junipers with big open meadows.
Pines,
not junipers. Lots of pines, some aspens lower, like the epitome of elk hunting. And we were plopped right dead center in the middle of it. And so, like, my takeaway is maybe a little biased because of the experiences that we had.
Yeah.
But my takeaway would be, in quotes of the famous Gage Butler, go elk hunting.
Yeah.
You get to see big elk, you get to hear big elk, and you get to shoot big elk.
That is a legendary Gage quote.
we actually, my son coined that phrase down on the R&K
Yeah.
3 years ago when he
On
drew
his first
the
bull.
youth any bull tag. And he was fortunate enough. That's where we found Maddie. This is crazy, but Maddie was a guide for R&K for years and years and years, and we kind of knew who he was, and he knew who we were, so we linked up. He was doing the social media stuff for R&K, and so he guided us on that hunt. And Gage killed a bull, and there's a really famous little interview Brian did with Gage, and that's what he said, go elk hunting.
Go elk hunting. He also coined the phrase, I like the way the things are happening, I believe, also.
That one gets said a lot.
Yeah.
Your kids have had some good ones. Winston maybe has the all-time one, antelope hunting.
Oh yeah, ball snacks.
Ball snacks, hashtag.
Brian, didn't you carry
Yeah, Brian, what have you
weapon
been doing
around recently?
with yourself?
Yeah, dude, it's been. Listen. I told you guys a little bit earlier. The stuff you're going to see this year from our hunts, I think, is probably some of the best we've ever had, and I'm super excited to see how it's all going to roll out. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to go to the elk hunting capital of the world. Arguably, I mean, based on what Matt and I saw, I rank it number one. The White Mountain Apache Reservation in Arizona, along with probably the San Carlos, the Jicarilla, maybe the Mescalero, some of the more better known reservation elk hunt opportunities across the West, both in New Mexico and Arizona. There's some other ones that are probably very good too that I'm just not as familiar with. The White Mountain, though, is pretty special. And we got a chance to go on a management hunt. So a management hunt, they're targeting mature 8+-year-old 5-point elk is what you're kind of going for. You could also have like a freak 6 that's dually palmated above the royals.
Yeah, like alligator tail.
Yeah,
Down
never
Really?
saw
They
that.
consider that management?
They did, yeah.
Dang.
We didn't see one. They had actually photos of one of them. We just never saw them, but got to just see a lot of cool historical, culturally significant places. Met some incredible people, and had a true hunt of a lifetime in the rut. So a lot of bugling bulls and activities, and I'm really excited to share how that one turned out. And that kind of leads us more or less up until the hunt giveaway. And we finally got to all get together as a group. We've all been kind of like in these micro units running around. And over the years, people have always talked about the idea of, man, why don't you guys hunt more together? And to be honest, it's twofold. It's one, we're not great at planning. And then secondly, we're trying to just go get as much good hunting content as we can. And so if we're always all together as a unit of 5, most cases it'd be one person with a tag, maybe 2. We could just hardly have any hunts by the end of the season.
We already need 2 Septembers.
We do need 2
One, yeah,
Septembers. It went way too fast.
Yeah, you got to get it while the getting's good.
So we had visions of grandeur for this hunt for sure. We're very familiar with R&K from historically working with Daniel and Travis up here. Obviously, Matt and Jed have got a lot of experience guiding up here. And we're thinking, man, early October, set the scenery here. Absolutely, bar none, gorgeous. The aspens and the leaves are all changing. And Utah is pretty well known for that. Whether it's throughout like the Wasatch Back or up in the Uintas, the scenery here is pretty breathtaking. So we've had no shortage of beautiful weather. In the sense of the scenery, I would say the actual weather itself has been a little bit challenging.
Snow.
A lot of snow, a lot of wind, a lot of rain.
High of
I think we
41
said this when we
degrees.
came in. The day we showed up was like it felt like mid-September, but by opening morning it was like late November.
Yeah,
Switched fast.
it presented some challenges, no doubt about it. We did hear a good amount of bugles. The bulls, though, were relatively kegged up in big aspen thickets the first day. So we didn't have as much visible interaction with elk,
Audio was there.
but the audio was pretty dialed. A lot of bulls screaming.
I want to ask Brody this. So, we called you. You remember the day or like roughly when we called and let you know you won? Was that?
Yeah, I won't forget it.
What was the day?
I don't know the date exactly.
I already forgot it.
Not the date. I guess I remember all the details of the day.
Was it like mid-August though? No, it had been.
It feels like it was only
Yeah.
about 3 or so weeks ago
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So say it was 1st of September. So we called Brody.
It was the 1st of September.
Yeah.
Yep.
before
You guys
the
were elk hunting.
Yep.
So you find out you won. I tell you all that. What was like the first thoughts in your head, or like you knew the hunt giveaway was going on, right?
Yeah.
And so when I called you and told you, what were your thoughts? Your initial thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, first off, I didn't even receive the items that I had ordered from you guys before I got the call, so that was kind of a funny scenario
So
about
it was like a last minute order and then
Yeah,
the call came? Dang.
waiting for double points and then
yeah.
then put in.
Little strategy there. I like it.
Yeah. My wife kind of forced me into putting in. I was like questioning it, whether it was the right time or not. She's all, no, order your shirts and the things you want. So I did that. She pushed me, and then just couldn't believe it was real, more or less. I never luck into anything like this. So
That's funny. A lot of the hunt winners or any giveaways we've done, a lot of them have been like, I've never won anything. But there's a first time for everything, right?
yeah.
So, but did you go and do any research, about the R&K, or have you heard about the R&K
No,
before?
just from watching your guys' content on the deer hunt giveaway, and then of course your son's hunt up here. But other than that, I knew nothing about it. So after I got the call, then I was hooked on the web a couple nights late.
Right on.
What kind of expectations did you have in your mind? Obviously, going into something that you win and so random. What was your mindset kind of walking into this thing?
I knew it was going to be great as far as like getting to know you guys and everything like that, but I don't know, hunting the usual $50 tags that I'm hunting around here. When you hear like the price tag on this, you expect like, 400 class bulls or something like that. So I was wrong in the sense of that, but
Yep.
it's still an unforgettable experience
Sure.
and everything.
Yeah, and I think you and I talked a little bit about that on the drive this morning. Was what to expect on these type of elk hunts, and the reality is, man, like that 400 class bull that we all maybe dream about especially when you think about it, man, guided hunt. It's got to be these massive trophies everywhere running around.
Yeah.
Isn't necessarily the reality of what most outfitted or guided hunts are.
Yeah, I
They're
think
similar in a lot of ways to.
I think it's on opportunities.
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
think you have a
That's right.
sufficient amount of opportunities
Yep.
at a place like this. So
Most definitely. It's not necessarily that next level, like massive giant animals run around everywhere, but certainly more opportunities than maybe you would see on a public hunt underground. Certainly more preparation with guys like Jed running around, doing a lot of the scouting, the prep work, the homework, the kind of like anticipation of us showing up to camp. Jed, where was your head at walking into this? This is the second giveaway hunt that you've been a part of as a guide.
Yeah, I was super excited to get back with the team, but this year especially, like Matt talked earlier, it's just been off, dude. Like the green up was so late, the antler growth was so late that like the rut this year has been like weird and late. Like they haven't been as aggressive as they usually are. There's like smaller groups of herds, not like one big herd with a few satellites. There's like satellite bulls with 4 cows and then like a herd bull with 3 cows. Like it's just been so different. And so kind of like doing my homework on this property we have, I knew it was going to be a lot of eyes, which was good because it was a rifle hunt. I knew we would hear some bugles, but I knew it would be different than like anything the Hush guys have experienced, anything Brody had experienced. So I tried to just, find a spot that had a handful of mature bulls, especially for this year, and try to get us in the nectar sector, get us lined up, dude. But yeah, it's just been like super off. Like I remember last year at this time, like there was herds of like 40 elk, like 3 or 4 satellite bulls, big herd bulls pushing all these cows. And like today, right before we shot Brody's bull, 10 lone cows ran under us. No bull. Yeah. First week of October.
Yeah, dude. Like I've had the experience to hunt the White Mountain, the San Carlos, lots of great units, lots of units in New Mexico that are held high regard. And I will still lean on the crutch that the rut on R&K is from August 20th till like November, dude. Like you can hear bugles every time you can call bulls in, and I will still stand on that hill that like the elk, you may not get 400 class elk, but you can have mornings where you call in 15 to 20 bulls, and I think that's rare anywhere in the world.
For sure.
And it just like breaks my heart a little bit to see how a winter can affect places so special to me.
Well, we talked to Dobie today, who is a longtime guide at R&K.
24 years.
Been here forever. Really, really knowledgeable, lived in the area, as good as they get. And he said this year it was really unique that the cows, so most of the time, elk are going to summer in a particular area. The bulls will have like a pre-rut zone, and then they'll eventually end up in an area that they rut. And a lot of times that could be different elevations, different country altogether. But he said the cows that historically would summer,
Thousands of cows
in the property that encompasses the R&K CWMU just didn't come back. And he said largely it was due to mortality. Winter kill, correct. So again, similar to Matt's hunt, kind of validating what people have talked about. I heard a lot of folks discussing the fact that the elk were in relatively good shape comparatively to the deer, because they are a bit of, they're a hardier animal. They can survive harsher temperatures and conditions. They're grazers versus browsers, so they can live off subprime feed if they had to.
Well, grazers, they can feed on the same stuff over and over. Once something's browsed,
yep,
it's gone for
that's
the
right.
year. So
and then just they can eat crappier feed,
yep,
basically. And so again, being able to validate through hunting season from guys that have been around for 24 years in a place, like, dude, this is a complete anomaly season. Mm-hmm. Like, the cows died.
Where these elk wintered, you can go look this up.
Yep.
By Echo Reservoir, 52 elk were hit by vehicles in 5 days.
Wow.
52 elk on the same stretch. They had to close the highway, do 35-mile-an-hour speed limits on I-80 where it's 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of news stories throughout the winter of elk that had to be shot, had to be, clearly a lot of vehicle incidents, and then just sadly like a lot that didn't make it, and some of which made it all the way through the winter, and then a lot of the elk and deer died in the spring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once the green up started. So
we just got those late snowstorms.
Yeah.
Like they were already in too bad a shape to handle 2 or 3 more late snowstorms.
But also what Dobie said, and I didn't quite dive into it. He was getting ready to leave, but he was saying once some of that green stuff starts sprouting, if they eat too much of it, it just like bloats them and it will kill them. Do you know more about that, Matt?
Yeah, it's this. They have the same. What's the word? As a horse, basically, they can colic and die if they gorge themselves too fast. That's why you flake off bales of hay or alfalfa when you feed horses and cattle. Same kind of thing. I forget the word for it, but
it's almost the same as what they deal with when they're doing emergency feedings in the winter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? They've got to slowly kind of adopt it, and then once they start it, they got to continue to feed all the way through the winter, which this year was a very expensive endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but like same kind of thing where these elk are wintering. I mean, they are legit on frozen lakes, herds of elk standing on the frozen lake because they can't get any lower in the valley floor. You can look up on the side hill where you shed hunt and stuff, and there's more dead bulls laying there than live bulls. And I mean, it's just, I don't know what you do from here. You know, I know the state of Utah is cutting tags back. I know R&K is cutting drastic, like a third of the tags back. So I don't want to harp on this too much, but it's so hard to see these private ranches that are sanctuaries for these animals that we all love have to cut tags back, which cuts money in their pocket, and they still have to pay full price for the leases or to the landowners or pay for some of these ranches. And it's just, I just don't know what you do, because if you can't pay to get the hunting rights to places, then the people who own the property are likely going to sell it or develop it or something. So it's just a snowball, and you can't control the winters, you can't control the animals. But man, it's just, like I said, it breaks my heart to see a place where
And it's just not here. It's a lot
different.
of places,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's on the public grounds.
yeah,
It's on the private landowners. It's on CWMUs. Like, it's everywhere that was impacted with the weather that we had dealt with. You know, there's a lot of variables, obviously, to factor into, but certainly the weather kind of stood out this year as like the primary one. And again, you know, the whole notion kind of loops back to our original discussion of what you maybe had in your head and what you envisioned doesn't necessarily come into reality for reasons that are out of our control. But nonetheless, we got to maintain a positive hunting attitude. We got to put forth the same kind of effort. We got to do our best to manage everything we have control over to make the hunt as enjoyable and successful as we possibly can.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing about any kind of hunting. And I think, you know, we talked to a lot of people at the expos and stuff, and a lot of people online that, you know, maybe have never hunted elk, and they always want like some tips or, you know, maybe some strategies to go into their first elk hunt. And I think it applies to every kind of hunting. And I don't care if you're on public, I don't care if you're on private, I don't care if you're on a giant ranch, wherever you might be, like, especially with elk, man, you have to be adaptable. Like, I'm really bad at this, and Eric kind of talked about this. I always envision, like, how something's going to play out before it ever happens, right? If I'm getting ready to go on a deer hunt in Idaho, I always try to envision, like, where I'm going to be at, where the animals are going to be at. And probably 9 times out of 10, it's not, what happens is not what I envisioned. And especially with, you know, I think this hunt applies to that too. Like, we envisioned having a bunch of bulls screaming in our faces and calling multiple bulls in.
Killer weather.
Yeah, just
you know.
beautiful weather. Had been all September for the most part, but it was a little different than what I had envisioned. But I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is it's like anything else, man. When you're hunting, is you just got to be a chameleon and be able to change colors and go another route if something's not working. You know.
I think the easiest way to say it is stay positive and control the controllables, because everything else is out of your hands.
Put that on a shirt and sell it, look.
Gonna do it.
Controllable.
Did you Google that?
No, I was just thinking about it.
That's fantastic. I mean, even though like we've been talking about, you know, how much different it's been and how, you know, Matt, it's tough to see an area go from what you remember it as to, you know, going through a tough winter and what it is now. It's still a phenomenal hunt. Like,
yeah.
we still heard 100 bulls, or not 100 bulls, but 100 bugles a day for the most part. Saw some nice bulls pushing cows. Like, we saw the rut. And so what was your takeaway? What was your takeaway from this hunt?
Mine?
Yeah. The guy that won, bro.
It was awesome. It was a cool experience coming up here. I guess probably the main thing, just from like my friend group and everything, the statement where like a ranch is a guaranteed thing. That stigma's not there. You do still work up on one of these places. About the only thing that it does is doesn't put you right on top of another hunter.
Yeah.
So it was a neat experience. Still had to work to get what we got.
That's a very valid point. I think, we've been fortunate enough to do some private land hunts over the years. We all grew up hunting public every year, every hunt, and we've had some awesome opportunities. And that's the one thing I'll say. I don't care where you're at. Hunting is hunting.
Yeah.
We've done some high fence ranch or stuff down in Texas like they do, and it's still hunting. Like, nothing's a guarantee. You still got to work. You still got to be able to adapt to situations. And that's what's so great about hunting is it's never like, fish in a barrel for sure. You still have to get out and work.
I think what's cool about hunting a place like this, coming from spending the last month and a half hunting public and watching all the animals on the private, is especially with the crew here at R&K. I mean, they hunt this place strategically. It's just not a madhouse here, right? Everything is strategic to give you the best opportunity to hunt these animals. And one thing I've noticed is, like, because we're not on top of another hunter, or because you're not worried about one, you're actually hunting these animals doing exactly what they'd be doing without pressure, right? They're doing their natural thing. Where, like, when we were in Idaho just recently, it's like we're on the public side watching these elk do what they would be doing if nobody was bothering them.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool, because typically on the public land hunts, you're almost strategizing your hunt based on, okay, what if there's someone in the bottom? I might use this.
Working off other
I
people.
might use this to my advantage. Yeah. So it's a different game, but it's fun to pursue and watch these animals just doing their natural thing with very little pressure. And I think that's cool.
I think it's important too. Like, different outfits run their camps in different ways, and to that point, one of the things that's always stood out with R&K is the fact that their guides work really well together.
Yeah.
Sharing information. There's no, not hidden secrets, not somebody, propositioning for their client to try to sneak into his zone. It's like everybody's working as a team. They're reporting back on, hey, what are you guys seeing? How was it in your area? We get assigned different portions of the ranch. Again, to Brody's point, we're not walking all over someone else. And I think those are much better than different outfits that I've heard of where there isn't communication whatsoever. Every guide is out for themselves.
Undercutting each other.
One client might have the most amazing experience in the world, and the other client may not see an animal. That happens more times than you probably would think. But overall, like that really has also stood out since we've been here. It's just the communication, the strategy, kind of the teamwork that goes into making it enjoyable for everybody that's sharing camping with us. We've been lucky enough to be in this lodge every evening, eating amazing cooking from Chef Barry, and also just meeting a lot of other folks from around the country that are here also trying to enjoy an elk or mule deer hunt. And I think that's something that's unique that we don't get to do as much of, but the notion and the idea of interacting and meeting different folks that are here from different walks of life. And I think that's a cool part of like a shared lodge environment where you're sitting around the dinner table with a lot of folks you would never otherwise have met.
Yeah, it's very refreshing to come out and have the camaraderie with everybody that's, like Brian said, all over the country that have come from different walks of life, come from different backgrounds and, hunting opportunities. Maybe, there's some guys that this is their first time ever elk hunting, and some guys that have been up here a few times and shot some elk. It's cool. But yeah, going back to Brian's point, man, this is really this operation that Daniel and the crew has built, because, the crew has been a big part of building this thing over the years, is, man, the teamwork that goes into this and the successes that everybody wants all the clients to see is awesome, man. Like, they kill a bull and say, Matt, we killed a bull. Everyone's texting Jed, like, hey, you guys need help? You want me to come help you pack it out? We saw it last night. A guy in camp killed a really beautiful 6-point, and 4 guys went in there to get it packed out. They get it back here, and all guys are out there skinning the animal together and getting the job done together, which is awesome. I love to see that.
That's always been my favorite part about R&K is every time like I would tag out, you just hop on with another guide. You go scout, you go help call, you go help glass. And that's really, I think, something that sets R&K apart is like every hunter will have a shot opportunity. Like, that's something we boast, and like like there's a reason we have like a 95% return rate of clients. It's because you will have encounters, and I 100% credit that to just we're all friends as guides and helping each other out, and it's like Brian said, nothing secretive, and I think that's so refreshing, and I know the clients see that, and I know the clients appreciate that, and I mean, it's just super rad. I mean, we saw it in White Mountain was very similar the way it was ran, and it's no coincidence that these places that are known for the rut, known for great elk hunting, are so successful. It's because the way they're ran, and I mean, I still think it was pretty rad. We got snowed on. We had 30-mile-an-hour winds most of the time, a high of like 39 degrees, 40 degrees today. Elk were still bugling. We still saw some rut action, and we got in and killed a bull. And I mean, that's you couldn't say that for a lot of places with random snowstorm and 39-degree freezing
Without
temperature.
a doubt. Yesterday, that's what's crazy about hunting this ranch. And I think Eric said it the best. Like, you can hunt elk like how elk would want to behave. And, typically on public land, for whatever reason, man, when the wind's usually blowing, the bulls shut up. They don't call.
Yeah.
And last night, dude, we got out down into the basin, and it was blowing in our faces, 30 miles an hour, and bulls are still ripping.
Yeah, hard to hear them, but they were
Hard
ripping.
to hear, yeah.
Catch them every now and again.
Never experienced that on public land, that's for sure.
I think we almost needed that yesterday too. That was that hope of glimpse to keep you out in the weather. long enough.
we wanted to bail a little earlier until we heard the first bull bugle, and we're like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll stick it out a
Locked
little
in.
longer.
Yeah.
But
We also ran it back, did a little old school feel on how we're sharing this one. So we're dropping the semi live. It's live. So if you're watching this, it's already on the channel. Go check it out. It's going to be probably a three-part
video, and then this will be the fourth.
Yeah, so make sure you go into the YouTube library and watch it from the beginning. But it was an ode to some of our early days of when we all got together and doing stuff like we did in Colorado.
Yep, 2014, I believe, was the first year that we came up with the idea to do a semi-live series, and we were like, it's a lot of work, but let's try it, and it was the three of us at the time, and we spent some late nights staying up editing, and then we'd hit upload on the computer and go out hunting for that day, and hopefully it was uploaded by the time we got back. But we've had a lot of comments over the years that people really enjoyed that style, and we wanted to kind of throw it back for that reason. And I think people like it because it kind of makes them, gives them something to look forward to every night to watch, but also kind of gives them the feel that they're with us, experiencing the ups and downs.
The ups, the downs, and all the ridiculous stuff in between. There'll be a good amount of entertainment interlaced.
I think I moonwalked today in the video. So.
That's the opener.
We had some contests. We had some good camaraderie amongst the crew here. But definitely check out the semi-live stuff, and then keep the calendar marked for October 22nd. We are dropping all the brand new films from this fall season. Again, we have some incredible stuff to share.
Dude,
Arguably the best season yet in many instances.
That's what's so wild about it.
Yeah.
We have like 5 bangers
In a
ready
row.
to go, and we're only through 1 month.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of stuff that we don't know what's going to happen. We haven't experienced it yet, but I would say every year we've said best season yet, and really I think every year it's been that way, and I'm really excited about what we've been able to capture and the adventures we've gone on and the ups and downs, that we experience as hunters. I'm excited to share it with you guys all at home.
The Hushlife podcast is brought to you by absolutely nobody. However, if you own a smartphone and you want to save a little bit of money, make sure you check out the OnX Hunt app. It offers a variety of key features to improve your hunting experience. From nationwide public and private land boundaries, waypoints, lines, and all kinds of data you can share with your buddies, to 3D topical graphical maps you can explore while scouting for your upcoming hunt. Make sure you type in code HUSH. You will save 20% on all hunt app opportunities. And if you want to take it to the next level, hit that elite button. It'll get you access to all 50 states. Absolutely, unequivocally, the greatest tool we take with us on every single hunt.
Are you zoning out a little bit? You need a little energy boost? Take yourself over to mountainops.com and get you some Hush Ignite. It is my favorite source of energy that money can buy. 200 milligrams of caffeine, no crash, clean energy. Use code HUSH at checkout to save you some cash.
So mark it on your calendar, October 22nd. That is a Sunday, and we will have Sunday hunt films rolling out from October 22nd until we either run out of content or we don't capture what we're looking for, whatever the case may be. We're going to try to run them as long as we possibly can as we lead into the end of 2023. Still got a lot more to go on our calendars, and so hopefully we'll be able to continue the trend. But I promise you it'll be some of the coolest stuff that we've filmed. We've stepped our game up on the camera side. We're rolling in what? Give the guys the
deets, dude.
The settings, Logan.
XAVC HS 4K 120 frames. Sat in a vivid profile number 2.
100 megabits, 1022.
Terabyte.
422.
422.
iCloud.
Yes.
Oh, also, we've been pretty steady with doing a podcast while we're on the hunt, so those are coming too. Like Casey's Moose one got one. So those will be dropping the same weeks the hunt films do.
Yep, we
If
got.
you're-
Have you guys
not
been
listening.
doing your podcast after every hunt?
Yeah,
We
gonna
did.
do it.
We did my hunt.
Yeah, I think the podcast, this is just a good way for us to sit down and kind of have a longer form of content for you guys and walk through some things that maybe it didn't make the film or whatever reason. But yeah, you guys have always asked for us to stay more consistent with the podcast, and so
Doing our best.
trying our best.
Trying to video all of them. We are currently in a lodge on the upper deck. The temperature up here is a little warm because the fireplace is going.
See a little sweat on your brow.
There's a
Brian.
bead of sweat certainly underneath my brow.
Let's ask Brody one thing before we close this out.
Yeah.
So we've done, I think this is our third hunt giveaway we've done. We've given away some trucks and stuff like that. From your experience to this point, is there any, and obviously we can't control animals, control what we can control, right, Logan?
Control the controllables.
How can we make
Print it.
these giveaways better in your opinion?
I really can't think of a way. I guess if it's possible, more frequent to get more people
1
out
week?
there. No, but
No.
I mean, beyond that, I mean, if the means are there, that would be awesome. But other than that, is a great experience.
Good.
So
Were we different than you thought?
no, everybody's really cool. It's like hanging out with a bunch of friends for me. So
Except Casey.
no,
only
he
say
was
that.
he was even
You guys
decent.
don't know this, but me and Brody are in a wolf pack now.
Yeah.
Lee was in it, and then he bounced
Dude, Lee's in
out.
my wolf pack, dude. We're in the enclosed wolf
We
pack.
tried to get Brody's dad Lee on here, and he was like, "If you make me be on camera, I'm just gonna swear so you can't use it." So we had to
We
leave
do
Lee out.
have. He's got some good anecdotes though that we've been able to add to the third and final episode.
Yeah, Lee makes an appearance
He
in
does.
the opening.
And it's powerful. It's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
It was cool. Me and Brian got to sit up on the ridge with Lee while all these other guys took Brody in to kill his bull today, and it was just fun to be up there with him. And he got to experience watching his son kill his biggest bull, man, and that really hit me, man. I thought that, we can't control anything that, the animals do, but what we can control is try to make the best situation for the people that win these things, and I think that was important to you to have your dad there.
Yeah.
And
That's trading a 400-inch bull every day. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool, man.
And I would say we had the greatest stadium seating looking down into this amazingly gorgeous bowl filled of aspens and sagebrush and rolling topography. And we got to watch the perspective of the elk and also the guys getting ready and how it all went down.
I mean,
No better seat in the house.
pretty cool that you can have 8 dudes in the field with a wild animal, and every single set of eyes watched it go down.
Yeah.
That is
I think
very
we
unique.
captured it from 7 different camera angles as well.
Yeah, most well documented elk hunt in RMK history, I
Yeah.
think.
The coolest thing about the whole way it went down was just, we've said this a couple times this year, but the elk reading the script, the anticipation of how it was going to go down just built and built and built and built, and then it was just like, go time.
I thought you were going to say making Eric walk back up to the top.
Well,
That's my fault.
You beasted that hill, by the way,
I
man.
did, I did it once and a half, right? Halfway up there once,
Eric got his
back, and then
steps in.
back all the way up there.
You got your steps in today, bud.
I got
Not
my-
only
got my
steep, but
stairs.
slick, too, man.
Oh, yeah.
I got to say before we go, Jed, if you guys don't know, Jed is Matt's younger brother. Jed is part of our crew. We consider him. He's a fantastic human being, and we just appreciate you working your ass off for us in the last 4 days, man.
Thanks, man.
Very appreciated. We love you like a brother.
Don't
dude.
wrestle.
We really do.
Yeah,
Don't go for the single leg.
don't go.
wrestle,
Crank
try
your
to
neck.
You got to be careful around these Lee brothers. They got some
Scrappy.
scrappy wrestling pedigree.
No, I appreciate you guys for sure. I always look forward to these hunts after last season, hunting with you guys and Caleb. that was a pretty awesome experience for me because me and my brother, I'm a full-time outfitter and my brother's full-time for Hush. Usually in the off season, we're ice fishing together. We're on his boat fishing together. We're hanging out. Our family's super close. And so like in the fall, it's tough because I'm up here always, lack of service, trying to send him pictures, trying to send him updates. And same with him. He's always out with you guys. And so I always look forward to being able to spend the week with my brother and especially you guys and be able to meet new people like Brody and be able to, this year, like last year, I leaned on Matt a lot because if you guys don't know, Matt guided here for a long time and he was probably one of the top 5 guides here. And everybody knows that at RNK. Everybody still talks about him. So last season, on Caleb's hunt, I really leaned on Matt. And this year, something that I thought was really cool was this morning when we spotted our target bull, Matt just looked at me and he said, "You're the guide, dog, make the call." And that, I don't know, I've had a really good season, so I was like, all right, now I got to kind of show my brother, I'm getting there, I'm growing, I'm getting a little better at this game, so that was super cool for me. But yeah, dude, just being able to spend the week with my bro, you guys, and in my element, I'm up here. I've been up here since August 15th with Matt, and I've had 3 days off since then, no weekend, so I'm up here every day, and to be able to have guys that I know really well and can hang out with, it's super refreshing, and I appreciate you guys and always will. So
you did a great job, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, nice work, Jay.
Awesome experience. Again, we feel so lucky for anybody that's supported our brand over the years, watching our videos, listening to our podcast, following our Instagram, buying shirts and hats, doing double entries and winning stuff. It's we've said it a lot of times, but it's an incredibly humbling experience. To be able to wake up every day, do something you love, all because people are supporting our business in various ways. So
people
like
just
Brody.
like Brody, man.
That's right.
What was cool. You guys don't know this, but Brody doesn't have social media. He just watches us on YouTube.
Yeah.
But so when he won, we were always trying to find, the winner, dive into Facebook, Instagram, try to find the winner. I could not. It took me a long time to find him. Somehow I got on this rabbit hole. I found your wife on Facebook. And I knew it was you because this dude has been rocking our shirts and our hats over the years. And I went through all their pictures, and I'm like, hell yeah. But people like Brody, you guys at home, are the reasons that we're allowed to do these sort of things. So we can't thank you enough, Brody. And, man, if we could, we would take every single one of you guys on a hunt one day. Unfortunately, that's not possible. We want to take as many as possible.
Yeah. We're going to keep doing our best to offer various giveaways from stuff that you participate by buying stuff on our website or our mobile app, but also ones that are no purchase necessary. Just got to be a part of our email list or our VIP text group and try to continually just give back because you guys have given so much to us. So if you haven't downloaded our mobile app, you can get it at the Apple store or the Android store. It's completely free. Just search Get Hushin', no different than our website. The mobile app is it's a great shopping experience, and honestly, it's where we're going to communicate a lot of new drops for merchandise. We've got some amazing new hoodies coming out here in the very near future, and where we're going to share a lot of new future giveaways. We got some custom things up our sleeve that we're hopefully going to do here pretty quick. And again, all these are just anecdotes and ways to say thank you. So we appreciate the continued support. We hope you guys are having an incredible fall season, and if you have got hunts on the calendar like we do, we hope you have a great time and get them punched, man. And with that,
one last giant thank you to Daniel, owner of RNK,
Certainly.
And all his guys, Travis, Jed, all the guys,
Hollywood.
Man, these guys are amazing. If you've never been on a hunt like this, and you're looking to look up the RNK, these guys, again, they work their asses off day in and day out. Daniel does so much for the wildlife up here, literally feeds these deer and elk through the winter out of his own pocket because he knows when they're struggling and when they need help. And so just a giant thank you to Daniel and the crew here at RNK for allowing us to come up and do this again. We've done this a few times now, and so big appreciation to those guys.
Absolutely. Closing thoughts, anyone? Eric?
Yeah, man, I just want to say thanks again to all the viewers. As I'm sitting here across from Brody, I'm like, it's people like this that allows us to do what we love. And it's still kind of wild how far this brand has grown and where we're at, but super thankful for everybody who supports us in any way. Brody, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is awesome. You just want to get swagged out in some good gear and to have the opportunity to do this, it's great. It's cool that you guys give back for, what led you guys to this. So this is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's kind of funny because we always pitch this as like, you're going to get the full experience. Not only are you going to hunt elk, you're going to be in our videos. You're going to see behind the scenes what it's like to make a film.
Yeah.
We're going to hang out.
Brody got that. Yeah,
That's
he got
right.
that. He said it's a little pressure
You're
when
gonna
you
be my
got
best friend.
cameras in space.
Where you're going home.
That's right. Well, yeah, awesome couple days, man. Congrats again.
Yeah, thank you guys.
On a heck of a hunt.
Congrats, man. That was
Glad
awesome.
you brought your pops.
Yeah,
it was
it
really
was
enjoyable
awesome.
getting to know him. And like the last two guys, we're gonna maintain a friendship. You share time in the elk woods with somebody, and it's just like hard not to continue a friendship moving forward. So looking forward to seeing these guys at the Hunt Expo when they come by and say hi, and staying in touch for years to come. Just like Caleb, just like Adam.
Mm-hmm.
It's super lucky. So thank you guys for tuning into the podcast, whether you're listening audio version or checking us out on our YouTube channel via video. We'll have a whole lot more stuff drop on October 22nd. And again, check us out on Instagram at GetHushin' or download our mobile app. And stay tuned for all the upcoming goodies.
If you guys are watching this on YouTube right now, click on this first link right here to go watch this whole semi-live series unfold, because it's already up on the channel right now.
That's it, folks. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
Peace.